On today's episode, sex toys and slime. LB licks the competition, and we're back, baby! All that and more on today's episode of Bad Advice with Lori Beth Denberg!
Help me out, almighty Lori Beth Denberg. Give me that vital information so I get the right thoughts. So do the church of Lori Beth is in session, and we're reading from the scriptures of vital information. Talking my goddess and my savior, my LBT. Just tell me what's going on with me. Oh my goddess and my savior, my LBT. Just tell me what's going on with me. The Lori Beth Denberg.
Hello, everybody. I'm Lori Beth Denberg, and welcome back to the Bad Advice Podcast.
Woo!
With me, as always, is Clark Crozer.
Hello!
Hello.
Wow!
We,
It has been a while.
yes, it's been a while, but we did actually put one out to explain our absence a little bit.
We did.
So if you missed that, go listen to the smaller podcast that was released, a week or two ago, a couple weeks, in which I sound like a dying frog who swallowed another dying frog. I just got, I lost my voice. I was doing a lot. There was some stressful stuff.
Yeah.
And when that happens, I lose my voice. And I did not have a voice.
For weeks.
A couple months.
Yeah,
I
a couple
think.
of months.
And so you can hear the tail end of if you go back and listen to our little explanatory podcast, just know that is like 80% better, my voice quality, than it was during the interim. And I'm sorry I didn't put out, I'm like, I gotta put out a video to tell. And I was like, no, I don't. It's just fine. Nobody is living or dying by whether or not my podcast, I hope not.
Yeah, I hope. I mean,
dear.
People do rely on us for tons of advice, but,
yes.
I'm sure they can live without us for a few months.
Yes, hopefully so. And if any of your loved ones are gone, I'm very sorry that happened.
Hey, look, you know what? I said this during the little mini update, and I'll say it again. We did shows for weekly shows for over a year straight. Yeah. So, taking a couple of months off, I don't think it was that crazy.
I'm having a comic book guy moment when the Poochie show came out. Itchy and Scratchy and Poochie, the episode of The Simpsons. I believe it's called The Poochie Show.
Okay.
Or it's called Itchy and Scratchy and Poochie. I don't know. I'm so out of practice. And they watch it, and comic book guy hates it. He's like, that was the worst episode ever. They owe us an explanation, something, and Bart goes, what do they owe you? They've given you thousands of hours of entertainment for free.
Exactly.
And it's like this whole thing, and he's like, worst episode ever. So we did do a lot. Yeah. And then I couldn't speak, and now we're back. Now you can hear that I'm as annoying as ever. But I really did miss you guys. I missed recording with Clark and seeing his dogs, even the one that's a dick. And just kind of, I miss hearing your questions and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So today,
we're back. We're back, baby. And during that time, we had a little bit of a secret project going on here, right? You were doing something a little behind the scenes nobody knows about.
A little behind the scenes. Now, I need everyone who's listening to this to sign an NDA. Go to Apple/podcast/Lori Beth/NDA.
Hit the update button or hit the
we announced this in our last little sorry we were gone one.
Yeah.
I am actually.
You are.
Last week was the premiere
of
Worst Cooks in America, That's So 90s.
Oh, nice.
So I have steered very clear of doing, and Clark knows this, of doing reality TV shows because they're mostly awful.
Well, yeah, but also as an actress, I feel like they are slowly eating fictional televised.
Yeah, they're taking food out of my mouth, which half of America thinks is not a problem. And probably for the best. But yeah, there is that built-in thing of, it was back in the 90s when it was just this influx and they were gross and it was like Date My Dad and Joe Millionaire and all of this yuck fest. Yeah. There are certain ones that are good.
And then every single one of them always had like the Date My Dad Celebrity Edition.
Exactly.
Every single one.
So it is like every time a reality show was born, two sitcoms never got to be.
Yeah, exactly.
So I do have that, but it's like, for example, I was offered, I think you know this, Clark.
Yeah.
I was offered the first season to be part of Celebrity Fit Club.
Right.
And I was like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to get in spandex and be weighed in on TV and whatever. They're like, oh, you'll be so inspirational. I'm like, that's not what you're after.
I mean, and looking back on it now in hindsight, now all you read about is how all of those shows about losing weight were just horrible.
Yeah, it's, I know we've spoken on the show about, like, there's emotional stuff behind, my weight, but behind a lot of people there's trauma, and it's like, I don't really want to do any of that. And then I remember I had an agent who, I was really gauging him on, like, what kind of guy is he? Because he's pretty new. Yeah. And I called him and said, they want me to be on Celebrity Fit Club, but I don't want to. And he goes, I don't know why anybody would want to.
Oh,
and then a few seasons in, he submitted me for it.
What?
For like season 3 or 4, whatever it was. And I was like, really? And he was like, he was all like, I'm totally from the Valley right now.
Yeah.
He said, it's really helping people, like Flava Flav is big now. And in my head, I was like, if my goal was to be a Flava Flava, I wouldn't care. And if you think the goal should be that, I don't know that we're a match.
Right.
Swipe left.
Yeah. Oy,
so anyway, yes, anyway, all of that to say that I was, told and offered to be part of this Worst Cooks in America, which cooking shows aren't usually about, like, who's gonna fuck.
Yeah, and it's also just like a totally different vibe than a typical reality show.
Than a typical reality show, or even a typical celebrity version of any show. Like, the fact that it was so, like, specialized, it was 90s. It was, I just thought, like, this sounds fun.
Now, are you allowed to talk about some of the people that you were with?
Yes,
that were
the
on
cast,
the show with you?
The cast was announced. So I can talk about that, and I can't, like, say, like, oh, and then I won everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I can't give away any spoilers at all.
Right. But you can talk about some of the people that you met.
Yes, I'll say the blue team. Okay. I was on the blue team.
Okay.
And I stand by our talents, kindness, morals, and ethics.
Oh.
I will say
that's a way to win a game show.
Yes.
Morals and ethics.
I know, right? No, we really did. But in all fairness, Anne Burrell, who is like, it's her show.
Okay.
And then a secondary, like, celebrity chef comes on, and Anne Burrell has the red team, and she's their dude.
Gotcha.
And then the other whoever is the blue team's
representing you.
So Anne Burrell is tough. She wants to win. There is a ruthlessness to her in that thing. And our guy was Jeff Morrow, who is so, I just love that guy. And you know what sucks? Because it's a game show, essentially.
Exactly.
So there's these rules that apply to it, and I'm specifically very attuned to them because I was on Figure It Out.
Right.
Everybody go watch the movie Quiz Show. But there's very specific things, like we were sequestered in Figure It Out. We don't get to see anything.
Yeah.
If we see something and we have an advantage, the contestant, it's unfair to them.
Right.
So I took that very seriously.
Sure.
And as did the crew and everybody, but I was like, they were like, you're even taking this a little far. But, like, I would walk around if I was going somewhere, like, I need to go outside for a while. I would walk with, like, my hand over my eyes, looking down. And I would say, because they would be doing props for game, like, different stuff. And I'm like, is there anything in here I shouldn't see? And if they were like, no, you're good, I would just walk out. And if they said yes, I would just keep my head down and watch my feet and walk outside.
All right.
So, but consequently, I never really got to hang out or talk to Jeff or even Anne.
Oh, yeah.
She did come upstairs one time with her, looks like a big Manx cat. Manx or Manx?
Minx, I think.
Or maybe a Manx. It was a
I don't
very big kitty cat.
Okay.
And we got to pet it, scratch his face. But we did not talk strategy or...
So, who were some of the people that you were cooking with?
Okay, so on the 90s tip, I got to meet a couple people that I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So I got to meet Tracy Gold
Oh,
from Growing Pains.
From Growing Pains, yes.
Which spans, like, I think of her as more like my 80s sitcom fix, but
Sure.
she spanned 2 decades.
Okay.
And so she was really awesome. On my team were Matthew Lawrence.
Oh, nice.
I got a Lawrence brother.
Nice.
And Jodie Sweetin.
Oh, how
and then,
great.
Yeah, everyone else was really great. But
this
it was
amazing.
Yeah, it was very cool. It was very fun. It was very intense.
Nice.
It was very intense
Well,
to do this.
I think everyone should know before they start watching this show, you went into it clearly a professional chef. Like,
oh my God.
Just expert chef level techniques, right?
I'm like, I can do it because if you're just supposed to be the worst, because I am. Yeah, I have never been known for cooking.
Yes.
I remember they asked me in an interview, how would you describe yourself in the kitchen? And I said, hapless and sweaty. That was, and she was like, really? And I'm like, yeah, that covers it. That covers it.
I have to say, I've known you almost my entire life. I can't imagine you cooking a meal.
Well, if you watch the show, you can see it.
I'm excited.
And it was truly an experience.
Okay, now, I know you can't do any spoilers. You can't do anything bad. Was there a food that you cooked that you were like, wow, I really like cooking this? Like, you could see yourself cooking it again in the future when you're not on a game show.
Yeah, what's funny is I think all of us were like, I'm going to go home and make everything.
Yeah, right?
And now when we talk, it's like, DoorDash? Yeah, me
DoorDash.
too. But there were things that I was able to do that I was proud of.
Yeah.
There were things that I was like, yeah, it's about right.
Oh, no.
But overall, it was, I learned a lot.
Good. Was it fun?
It was fun.
Good.
It was, we're kind of like brothers in arms, all of the cast members, because it's intense.
Oh,
and it's a lot of work, but I think that all comes through in it. Like, that's the thing with these reality shows is you see how hard people are working.
Yeah, and talk about just the diametric opposite of your last game show, right?
Yeah.
Because your last game show, all you're doing is sitting in a chair and getting shit dumped on you.
I got to sit there and get slimed.
And then now.
Oh, speaking of that.
Yeah.
This is going to be harken back to the beginning of our lives.
Okay.
And I do want to get to the questions.
We do have tons of questions.
But I was looking at, I know we've talked about this before. I happen to be looking at with a certain gentleman friend of mine, which maybe we'll talk about in the future. Some sex toys online.
Okay.
And there was one, how'd I do?
No, I said as you do.
Oh, as you do, yes. It was my priest. Like, look what you're missing. He's like, aren't you Jewish? And I'm like, not anymore. And I was like, how did we get here? And I'm like, Tinder, you messaged me. Anyway, so we were looking at this, and then there was one toy that, they all have a video.
Of course.
And so I click on it and watch the video, and it's this, like, Matrix-inspired, like, just kind of like the black and the laser beams and whatever. And then right up top, the sound effect of the secret slime action on Figure It Out. It is used everywhere. It is a ringtone on the iPhone.
Oh,
and
my God.
even to this day, my heart stops a little and I look up.
That's hilarious.
And I'm like, yeah.
Oh, it's what's the reaction? The dog, they ring the bell.
Oh yeah, it's Pavlov.
Pavlov. You're
it's
having
my
a
Pavlovian
Pavlov reaction.
It's like, can I at least watch a video of how a sex toy works without having like
the fear of being slimed?
Yeah, but it's really funny. Every time I like have a start and then look up. So yes, that's, just to get us right back in where we were, I had to throw in some sex toy stuff.
Nice.
But, okay, never mind. I will save that for another episode. Okay. A sex shop that I went to that was not okay.
Yeah, keep listening to these episodes. You never know what you might hear.
Okay, so... Worst Cooks in America, it's on the Food Network.
Yes.
And that's why I can't do any spoilers, because you do not want the Food Network after you.
Exactly.
They have so many knives. But, like Nickelodeon star Lori Beth found dead. Julianne. So... Yeah, watch that. We'll talk about it because I can say, like, oh, what happened? We'll do the Cooking Dead, recapping each episode. But that's on 9 p.m. on Sundays.
All right.
And it was really fun, and I'd love to know what you guys think of it.
Yeah, if you have any questions about the show out there, please send it to us. You can email it to us, or you can leave us a phone message, either way. But speaking of... Lori Beth, would you mind if we answered a couple of questions?
I would love it. I missed you guys and all of your horrible problems that I can relate to.
And we have tons of them. So
good.
Let's start off with Steve.
Steve.
And Steve.
Is it Steve Harvey?
I don't think it's Steve Harvey. But Steve asks, so my girlfriend is obsessed with watching true crime on TV and listening to the true crime podcasts. When I come home from work, dinner isn't even ready because she's watching something about Jeffrey Dahmer. Or I'm hearing about somebody that got gutted or strangled to death. I don't even like scary movies. I kind of want her to stop watching this stuff. I'm starting to be scared for my life.
Do you think she killed him right there and he couldn't say goodbye or thank you? Steve, if you're out there... If you have one hand free from your bindings.
Exactly.
So, Steve, I would like you to reflect on whether you've done anything that would deserve a quick murder.
Oh, see?
But maybe not. This is a thing. Women love those shows.
Yeah.
There's even, I'm thinking of a South Park episode. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, absolutely, with the parents.
The parents, and they were all like, is this all bloody? And this is so much, we should
murder
stop.
Porn.
Yeah, murder porn. And then when they stopped watching them, they just turned on each other.
Exactly.
And in the end, it was like, we need to get our fix of awful, murdery, torturous this. To live in harmony.
It's true.
And there's something, exciting to the salaciousness.
Yeah.
And over the last, couple months when I couldn't talk, I ended up watching a bunch of documentaries.
Okay.
And most of them are just terrible. I said, let's see how horrible this guy is, and, but some really good stuff, it's really good, but it's just awful.
Yeah.
And there's something just, voyeuristic and cathartic about that.
Yeah.
And interesting. It's also an interesting kind of psychological look at people and the way they think. But we are talking, he's talking about like CSI and like, right? Like scripted, like shows?
Watching true crime on TV.
Oh, true crime.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Jeffrey Dahmer, he said?
Dahmer
Okay.
And people getting gutted and strangled.
Yes.
I mean, honestly.
Go.
If you're not into it, I don't know. That's a hard thing to get over. If one person is totally into one thing and the other person is absolutely against watching or joining that person, that's a hard relationship to keep happy, man.
But he did say, because this stuck out to me, when I get home, my dinner's not even on the table.
That's the other thing that I'm hearing.
So, I'd watch your fucking steps,
yeah.
Steve. Is that
Exactly.
the tip of the iceberg? She might just be getting that like thrill and cathartic voyeurism and what's it called when you live through somebody else?
Oh,
Not surreptitiously. Okay, here's where we search for a vocabulary word. Vicarious. Vicarious thrill.
Living vicariously.
So if it's the tip of the iceberg that you're like, where's my dinner, woman?
Yeah.
Perhaps it's best to let her watch that.
Yeah.
Or you could end up on the wrong side of a knife. I wouldn't worry about it too much. There's a whole. They did a whole this music video parody digital short on SNL.
Okay.
About women watching these murder shows.
Oh, nice.
And why they all like it. It's really funny. It's really, really funny. So I'd be cool about it if you really hate them. And it's like, because there is that part where it's like, I don't need to take this in all the time.
Right.
I say that about my dad, too, because he watches all of those. And it's like and it's all grisly. And every once in a while I go, can you watch something funny?
Yeah.
Like, can you just watch a whatever?
Right.
And so there is that. I mean, I totally just trashed Steve and assumed that he's like the worst. But there is something to be said for saying, I know you like these and it's great. But if you're having to watch after she gets your dinner on the table, if you're, forced to watch it with her, or that's the only way you get to spend time with her, is if you sit and watch these, there's really something to say for yourself of like, this is all, I get it. I get all the smush about it, but it's dark and it's violent. And it's like, I don't want to take that in all the time.
Yeah.
So you could approach it that way as well.
True. Absolutely.
Either way, I would secret a knife somewhere on your body. In case it goes wrong, you'll be able to defend yourself a little.
I like that. Let me, I'll throw out one other thing.
Yep.
Maybe you approach the girlfriend and say, look, these aren't my favorite.
Maybe you approach her slowly from behind while she's distracted.
These aren't my favorite, but pick one that you think is the best. Like maybe she can get him into it if she starts watching like a really good, intriguing one.
Yeah.
I'm
trying to think of like a funny murder show.
Yeah, exactly. There's got to be some kind of documentary about clowns murdering each other, right?
CSI Branson. I don't know. It's just folksy. Yakov Smirnoff is always the killer, but there's loopholes and he always gets out.
In Russia, country kill you.
All right, Steve, good luck on many levels.
I hope that helps at least a little bit. All right, next question we have is from our good friend Anonymous.
Oh, very nice.
And Anonymous says, hey, my boyfriend is bad at oral sex. I keep trying to tell him further to the left, but he doesn't get the right place. How do you tell somebody that they're bad at something? Or how do I get him get better?
Oh, man, that just made me think a million things.
Okay, all right.
Well, a million things.
Okay.
Most of which are negative. Because I've had experience with this, and I know what the outcome of mine was. If someone is not giving you what you want, despite clear instructions, there's that chance that they're like, well, if I just do the dishes bad enough, she won't ask me to do them again. Right. I put bleach in your black leggings in the washer? Oh, no. I guess I shouldn't do it anymore. I licked your upper thigh to your sternum, and isn't that where your clit is? Oh, no. So I don't know if that's the situation that has been part of my life in the past. Yeah. And then also, trying to instruct somebody, and then he's like, don't tell me what to do. Yeah. And so there's that. And there is the defensive,ness and like, well, I'm not good, I'm not good at that. Right. So I don't know if any of that, if any of those, not the defensiveness one, that's a thing. Yeah. And that requires conversation and all that kind of stuff. Yes. Like maybe, like definitely a conversation outside of the actual cunnilingual session.
Yes.
And that's to express your needs, not like what I want. To do, to say like, hey, I don't feel listened to. I don't feel like whatever. But if it's the other stuff of, I don't care, I don't want to, do a bad job, whatever, then that's something to look at. Are there other places in your relationship that are wanting and lacking in that way?
Right.
And you could also, I'm a big fan of porn.
Sure.
Porn is not real life.
Yeah.
But maybe you could look for quote unquote lesbian porn, which isn't, there is true woman on woman, porn for that. And then there is like,
the fantasy.
Then there's the fantasy of like the two girls. Oh, they're 69ing in a soapy tub. That's what everyone does.
Exactly.
So, exactly. I don't know where your relationship or your partner falls.
Right.
Is it, I don't care what you want? Is it, I'm doing a bad job so I don't have to, like, that's the other thing. Does he enjoy it?
Right. Is he trying?
Yeah. Is he like, I love doing this. Like, he rolls up his sleeves.
Exactly. And then he
just
like,
goes, and he takes a big breath, like, just
he
dives
does one of those
in.
clap hand warming
Yes. Dinner time. But, so there's a lot I don't know. If you could send a video.
We can give you specific
exactly.
instructions.
So the way you would take it, the way you would approach it would depend on, which or whether any of these scenarios of the disinterested guy, of the just doesn't get it guy, of the whatever applies to you.
Right.
Also, what you could do, and this hurts me to say, and it would probably hurt in real life, give him the worst blowjob ever.
Oh, no.
Give him he's like, oh, not so tight. And you're like, tighter? It's just, that could be a nice little, if he's one of the bad scenarios that I put out.
Exactly.
But just be like, teeth, right? More teeth? Sorry, Clark.
No, it's okay. It's all right. Let me just add one more thing here.
Oh, yes.
I think it's very reasonable for you to physically manipulate where his head is.
Oh, yes.
Just take control while you're in the situation, while things are going on.
Like Ratatouille?
Grab him. Exactly. Ratatouille, this motherfucker. Grab him by the hair and get his head into the right position.
Yeah.
Get his mouth into the right spot. Like that. If that'll work, do it.
Yeah.
But that again goes back to, is he enjoying it? Does he like doing this?
And if there also is now Clark got me thinking of actual solutions.
Ratatouilleing it.
Yeah, ratatouilleing him. No, but then if he is willing and wanting and just not getting it and not understanding how to listen to, I don't know, the fact that she's telling him and he's not, it makes me suspicious of him, his tongue and his intent.
It's true.
But he could sit back and you could like masturbate and show him where, like, here's a little, you could even, use a little Sharpie.
Yeah.
No, not a Sharpie.
Not on your body.
Not on your body. Something where it's like, here's where you're supposed to land.
Yeah. Look, sometimes, and I'm first to admit it, guys are dumb.
Yes.
Dudes are just dumb, especially when it comes to sex. Guys are just dumb. So, look, maybe he needs a little assistance, and he's just too dumb to get your verbal cues.
Hey, honey, was that good for you? You fucked the mail slot. And you said, you little slot. I'm going to stick all my mail in you. Good luck, Annie Anonymous. Why did she make it anonymous?
I don't know.
Why is this? It seems so something like she'd want to spread around.
I hope that helps. But yeah, let us know if you have any more questions or you want to send us videos, please. Send away. Let's move on, though, to our rotating segment of the week. I'm happy to get back, and we're going to start with a fan favorite.
Yes.
Everyone loves when we do our top 10.5.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, LB and Clark's top 10.5.
Welcome back to what could be and has been in the past the longest segment ever. So long, in fact, on several occasions, we could not air it.
Yeah.
But we're going to try to keep ourselves together.
Yeah, we're going to go quick.
So this is the top 10 and a half things that we did during our break from the podcast, which was almost 3 months.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start with 90s Con.
Oh!
You knew I was going to that.
Yes!
I wasn't sure. We booked it. It was a convention, like a Comic-Con, but it was a 90s
good
Con.
old-fashioned Comic-Con convention.
And booked it like a year and a half, 2 years ago. It really seemed so far away.
Right.
Like, everything will be glorious. Spring will come and COVID will be gone.
Right.
So that wasn't quite the situation, but I decided to go. And like all precautions were taken. Connecticut happens to be a really good smushy COVID thumbs-uppy state.
Good.
So it was so fun. First of all, there's a bunch of people there.
Yeah.
Matthew Lawrence was there.
Oh,
and all
hey.
the Lawrence brothers.
Nice.
All the Lori. But, so I was really excited to see him because we'd been on Worst Cooks together. And I was like, oh my gosh. I got to see and spend a lot of time with Danny.
Oh, yay.
With Danny Tamborelli, my love. And that was, it was so wonderful. It's just, I just love him, and to be able to get to hang out with him and give him shit.
Yeah.
And I saw people I haven't seen in 25 years. Like, not that we're ever like super great friends. I don't want to be all like, hey, guess about me. But I saw Melissa Joan Hart,
That's awesome.
It's like, oh, hug her.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I saw Jenna Lee Green. Oh, I just named the whole cast of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. But,
was the cat there?
the cat was not there. Oh, I would have killed, man. Nick Bakay.
Nick Bakay.
I went to the set of Sabrina once because I wanted to meet Nick Bakay.
Really?
Yeah, back on
awesome.
Comedy Central.
Yeah.
No. The Comedy Channel.
Right.
Before the Comedy Channel and Ha merged, became Comedy Central.
Yes.
He was the sidekick on Night After Night with Alan Havey. We are getting way off. Do you remember when I said this is probably the longest unairable segment? This is why.
Oh, this is hilarious. You're right. We don't have enough time right now. Maybe we should save some of this. We talk about it next week in next week's segment of the week.
You know what? I do have enough stories to fill up a segment. That's a really good idea.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Clark's first?
Yeah, I'm going to go straight into really the most boring of my items on the list.
Okay.
And I kind of mentioned it a little bit last week on the little update mini podcast episode, and that is I changed our studio. Our studio was completely changed around.
It's gorgeous.
I put new things up in the walls, and there's new toys everywhere, and it's just a fun kind of space where there's just shit everywhere to look at.
And you made it a lot better. Like, somehow it's the same exact room with like 400 extra square feet of breathing space.
Exactly.
Like, you really did a good job configuring it in a way that's like super smushy yummy.
Thank you. I like it. I think it's really it's nice to sit in here and work now.
Yes.
Anyway,
it is.
that was my first one.
Okay, my next one is I went to Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
I went to Vegas. We have talked, it was a long time ago,
Yeah.
about what I do in Vegas. I even like smushed that down smaller.
Yeah.
I needed to just decompress. I needed a couple days alone.
Yeah, this is after you've been dealing with your voice for so long.
Yeah,
it's just stressful stuff.
Yeah, and there was stressful stuff and this and that. I was like, I just need to get away.
Yeah.
So I went to Vegas. I booked a room for like 7 cents on Priceline.
Right.
And my only itinerary was to get at least a 90-minute massage, but not like at a hotel where it costs like $1 trillion.
Right.
Just like a strip mall, like there's like Massage Envy. I don't know how many massages Clark has gotten.
Sure.
But so I want to do that and go to the Pinball Hall of Fame.
Of course, you do that every time.
And play as much pinball as I want.
And there is a new addition to your routine.
What?
That is thanks to me and Karen.
Oh, that's right. I did go there to Hash House A Go-Go.
Hash House A Go-Go.
Which
Best
is,
restaurant
yeah,
ever.
and I had a really good breakfast.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm going to play Lord of the Rings pinball as much as I want.
Nice.
For as long as I want. I was there 3 days. I went every day for a couple hours. I was very rusty.
Huh.
But by the end, like literally by the end when I walked out, I had gotten my name up on the board in 4th position.
Wow.
So I was very pleased with that. So I went to Vegas.
Very proud of you. That's good. Okay. Here's another very boring one. You went to Vegas. I got a present for Christmas this year.
Uh-huh.
And it took me about a month and a half to put it together.
In the video for it, do they use the secret slime action sound?
They do not. They do not. No. I got Kevin McAllister's house in Lego form.
Oh.
That's right. The house from Home Alone is now in my living room. It's pretty amazing.
Wow, it's so meta. There's a living room in your living room.
Exactly.
Is there a smaller living room in the living room of the living room?
And there's booby traps around the Lego piece that has
that's so
booby
cool.
traps inside the Lego piece.
And Clark will build, like, did you look at the instructions?
Oh, of course.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
Because Clark will be, like, meticulous. Like, it is done.
It was very fun. And it's so cool because all of the not pranks, all of the stuff, the traps that Kevin sets for the burglars are in there in Lego form, to the point where there's a little tiny switch in the kitchen, and when you flip the switch, it drops a Lego iron down into the basement.
Is there a little tiny red hot doorknob?
Yes! There is a tiny little red doorknob. Every single trap is in this Lego set.
So excellent.
So fucking cool. All right, that's my number 2.
Okay. My number 3 is I got COVID.
Oh!
After all of my bitching about being careful and this and that. Hashtag 1 million hugs. I did get COVID.
Yeah,
I started to feel a little sick. Just like a cold.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to take a COVID test. I was on a Zoom, like, with some friends. And I'm like, yep, that's pretty positive.
Oh, no.
And I just was out for about 4 or 5 days, just asleep, sweaty, confused. I woke up and I lived with Abby, and it was 7 at night. And I go, you're late for work. It's 7 o'clock. And she was like, it's nighttime. And I don't know what day it was. My friend was on a weekend trip at this wine and food festival.
Nice.
And I came to on like a Wednesday. And I was talking to her on the phone. I go, are you still at the thing? And she goes, no.
Oh, no.
I've been home for like 4 days.
Oh, God.
I was like, I didn't quite know. So I had COVID.
Luckily, you have had both the shots and the booster,
Yep.
right? So, luckily, it hit you, but it didn't hit you too hard.
Yeah, it was really, and I actually kind of woke up feeling better. Like, after I had COVID, my voice came back.
You got COVID at the end of all of this, like, laryngitis nonsense.
Or just sleeping for 4 or 5 days, not talking to anybody.
That might help, too.
Not whatevering.
Yeah.
And it was like, thank you. my throat was like, thank you.
So, yeah, that's a pretty powerful number 3.
Yes.
All right, my number 3. Again, mine always seem a little less powerful than yours are. But anyway, my number 3 is Lex, my son.
Yeah?
He's going to turn 7 years old tomorrow.
Oh, that's so fucked up.
I'm so excited.
Birthday.
He has been doing so good in movie watching. And because of that, we have now gone through the entire Back to the Future trilogy.
Nice!
We've gone through the entire Ghostbusters run.
Oh!
It is so much fun and every single time we finish a movie, he turns around and he goes, well, that's my new favorite movie. Every single time. So it's just been so much fun to watch all these movies with him over the past few months. And it's like, kind of gets me excited. I got to do all of this one round with Karen, right? Because she grew up so isolated that she wasn't allowed to watch movies.
She wasn't watch any movies that weren't like religiosity.
Yeah, that weren't starring Jesus.
Yes.
And then I got to show her all of those good movies. And now I get to do it all again with Lex, and it's been pretty fucking amazing. All right, that's my number 3.
My next one kind of ties into yours because for a while I have been looking every once in a while at what's going to be at the Hollywood Bowl this summer.
Yes.
And the one that I texted Clark, because Clark, there's usually at least one that Clark's parents and Karen and Clark and Lex and I will go to.
All together.
And it's been like the Muppets. There's been a couple perfect. We did last year The Princess Bride.
Yes.
And the orchestra plays the score live. This year was Back to the Future.
Yes.
There's a couple that might work, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But I texted Clark, and I said, is Lex too young for Back to the Future? And, instead of saying yes, he goes, oh, we just watched it.
We just finished number 3.
So that won't be it, but there's a couple more that I think we could do, because I'd like to keep the tradition up.
Absolutely. I agree.
Nothing was more perfect than The Simpsons. That was first time to the bowl for Lex.
So much
Very
fun.
first time. There were fireworks.
Yeah.
It was his first time on a bus.
Yeah.
That was so special and
That was
perfect.
amazing.
And I'm making my list and checking it twice.
Nice.
And
You're prepping for the bowl.
Prepping for my summer.
My number 2 is I've actually kind of got set up in my office here for the main computer a system where I can digitize old VHS tapes.
Oh.
And I have just been having a ball going through all these old videos. I used to shoot videos of myself with Mike or with old friends. I have videos from when I was working at Universal Studios and I was in the Wild West show or Beetlejuice. All these behind the scenes stuff, and I can't get enough. I keep finding more tapes to digitize.
Oh my goodness.
And it's just so much fun to find all these old tapes that, probably I haven't looked at in 20, 30 years.
Because you haven't had a VCR?
A VHS? Yeah, VCR, exactly.
They were in the attic, plus there's no such thing as a VCR.
Exactly.
That's awesome. I mean, I have tapes at home. I'm going to have to bring them over.
Bring them over. I'll digitize them. I'm having a blast, man.
Okay,
this is
that
so much fun.
is a thing.
Yeah, totally.
My 5th or the 10th.
No, 9th.
Oh, it's the 9th.
9th.
Is I helped uninstall and install a dishwasher. Not the same one. We uninstalled the old one that wasn't working and installed a new one. And this it was really, really satisfying. It's, my friend whose husband died, and he would have it would have been replaced before she knew it was broken. But, it was like we got the heads up from the repairman. We called it's not worth, the
fixing.
price for the price of what it would cost to fix it. You could just get a new one for just a few $100s more. So all of a sudden we're like, let's go to Lowe's.
Oh no.
And she had all of these gift cards for Lowe's.
Oh wow.
From people gave them as gifts when they redid their kitchen.
Okay.
So we go to Lowe's. We're good. I figured out then, I'm like, we're a good team because you're white collar and I'm blue collar. So she's looking at everyone. Oh, this has this has this. And I'm like, where's the one that's on sale? Is this a bait and switch? And so we found one. It's her house. She chose. I'm like, I don't agree. She's like, you're not my dead husband. So she'll laugh at that. I make the best dead husband jokes. So we went and we got it, and then we had to uninstall
the bad one
to not pay extra millions.
Sure.
We had to uninstall the bad. We chose, if we couldn't have done it, we would have called in an expert, which is what Annie Anonymous should do with her husband who can't eat pussy.
There you go.
Call in an expert. My dad, speaking of experts, my dad was an electrician his whole life, contractor. And now that he's older, he has arthritis. He can't hold the screwdriver.
Right.
It's really frustrating for him.
Sure.
So when we need to fix things at home, he's the brains and I'm the hands.
Okay.
So I bring him over. He sits in a chair in the kitchen. He's kind of using YouTube University to get it. And I'm on the ground, pulling stuff out. And whenever we do this, I take off my shirt. I'm still wearing a bra.
Right.
But so I'm just rolling on the floor like a mechanic changing oil. No, with just my bra on and
you've got
my hands
grease
dirty.
on your face, even though you're not working with grease.
Where did that come from? It's Sharpie. I I just wanted to look the part. So we took out this pretty complicated to get out, because it was kind of jerry-rigged dishwasher. And then put it outside, and the city came and picked it up.
Wow.
And then with another friend, when the new one came, we installed the new one.
Damn, that's impressive.
It was so satisfying.
That's
it was so
awesome.
satisfying to help my friend.
Yeah.
It was a great experience.
That's awesome.
Thank
I love
you.
that. All right. Okay, well, I have time for one more. And my last one is it's TikTok. I got into TikTok big time. I love TikTok. It is so much fun. The funny thing is, people keep calling it a social media. It's not a social media. It's like YouTube Lite.
It's like a performance space, it seems like.
It really is. And, there's just tons of different groups on there, and they're all talking about very specific, intricate things and things that I've never heard of before. And there was even a very large part of the community that's obsessed with theme parks. They're all theme park obsessed. And, I worked at Universal Studios for 7 or 8 years there. So I've even made a couple of videos just being like, hey, I was working at Universal and this is what happened. Just kind of behind the scenes stories. And it's been fun. It's been really cool. I've been really enjoying it. I'm kind of hoping eventually maybe I could figure out a way to get you on there too.
I have a TikTok
the
account. I have not as yet ticked any talks.
Yeah, we'll get you there.
I'm so old. And then I realize we're the same age, but you're doing it.
Exactly.
I will figure it out. I have just recently almost understood Instagram.
I'm still
or
not
as
there
I
yet.
call it, Instagram.com. Jesus. Okay, so
and then
good.
wait.
What?
So that's our 10, and then
Yes.
here's our half. You
Yes,
ready?
everyone, get ready.
This is pretty amazing. So this happened during our break, right around the beginning of February-ish. I got an email. I get all of the emails from that you guys send us.
Yeah.
Right? Because I kind of pick and choose what the question is that I bring to you on the show. And I got an email, and I was pretty impressed because our podcast, Bad Advice with Lori Beth Denberg, had a very good performance in Apple Podcast rankings.
Yes.
We hit, are you ready? Hold on to your seats. We hit position number 33 in the category of comedy / Malaysia. So in Malaysia, we are the 33rd most popular comedic podcast.
I want to thank everyone who made this possible. Irene Ung Shelby Woo's from Malaysia. I wonder if she
is she
put
beating
the word
us?
out. Is she? No, maybe she's telling them all how great we are.
Yeah, she's spreading the
Hi,
word.
Shelby Woo. And then I was like, I'm LB Woo. I'm pretty sure I've told stories about her. We had some funny times.
I remember those times.
But yes, so if you're wondering, this is us being half successful. 10.5. It's really awesome to, it's awesome when anybody's listening.
Yeah.
I'm always like, you didn't have anything better to do. Sorry. But you're like, well, my boyfriend isn't eating me out right now, so I'm kind of bored.
Exactly.
Sorry, I'm so harping on Anonymous.
No, that's all right.
But So
yeah,
it's really great, but it is very strange. Like, who's listening in Malaysia?
In Malaysia, we're very popular.
That we're 33. But you know what? Is it out of 34?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Does it just say who we are? Or we should get that whole
we
list.
need to figure out how many podcasts are banned in Malaysia.
Exactly. So thank you, Malaysia, if you're listening. Well, at least some of you are listening.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is our top 10.5. It was, I needed the rest. I couldn't, I physically couldn't speak.
Yeah.
And so it was not podcasty time, but
Yeah.
we got all of that done.
Yep.
And I did miss you, and I'm really glad we're back.
And we're back. And we have one last question here before we're done with this episode. So let's get through this last question.
Okay.
This is from Jamie. And Jamie says, "Hi, Lori, Beth, and Clark. Since the beginning of the pandemic, I started fragrance collecting. Not really sure why. Perhaps I'm trying to fill a void in my life. Since 2020, I've been used, ghosted, and had family drama, and most recently have had a few health scares. I find fragrances bring me happiness in a way I can't explain. But herein lies the problem. A lot of my money is going to fragrances. So much of it, in fact, I don't save as much money as I used to. Any bad advice on how to control this compulsive addiction?
Jamie. Well, the whole time you were saying it, I was like, I gotta break it to him that this is a compulsive addiction. And then he threw it in right at the end.
Right at the end.
So there's a lot that speaks to me.
Yeah.
You know? The fragrance, the whole, not atomizer, whatever, it's diffuser.
Yeah.
It's calming. It helps a lot of people. There's a lot of I'm not very woo-woo.
No.
But there is stuff about it helps people that are sick and the mix of
There's
mix
chemicals.
Of the stuff.
There's chemicals in there, and chemicals affect your brain.
Yeah, and if you if you smell some eucalyptus, you are invigorated.
Yeah.
Like, it's a thing.
Yeah, it's a chemical thing.
So it's, if you are then you're also, you didn't just say, oh, I'm buying so many fragrances. What do I do? You're like, these are all the horrible things that have happened to me. You are aware that this is a reaction.
Right, you're compensating.
This is just reminding me of doing drugs.
Yeah.
This is making me feel better. I'm pushing away what I don't want to think about.
Right.
And now what I'm doing to make me feel better is costing me something.
Right.
Whether it's, with drugs and it's like family and responsibility and jobs and all this kind of stuff, as well as every internal like self-esteem, all the kind of stuff.
Sure.
In this, it's costing Jamie money.
Yeah.
Which he brings up. And that could be enough. Like, there's also just kind of a compulsive shopping.
That's another very big thing. Yeah.
So, but at the start of it, it is this thing that is soothing, that is helpful.
Right.
And you can't even go, you're like, oh, drug. You're like, nobody's like, well, the heroin was really just great. I just bought too much.
Right.
Right off the bat, that's not a great idea. But getting a diffuser and putting in the tangerine, I almost just said tangerine and peppermint, which sounds so awful. Putting in lemon and lemongrass and tangerine and getting a citrus buzz.
Yeah.
And, that's lovely and yummy and calming and soothing and exciting and whatever. But it sounds like according to you, your compulsive addiction is taking over at least your bank account and your mind, because it's bad enough that you thought, I know what I need to do.
Right.
I need to write to Lori Beth.
Right.
So you have to look at if this is really, like you said, an addiction, and then really consider it a shopping addiction.
Yeah, because this is my question to you.
Yes.
You get some heroin tomorrow, it's gone by the weekend, right? That was the old Dennis Leary joke. You get an 8-ball, it's going to last all week, and it's done by the weekend.
Yes. I
can't imagine if you're buying perfumes or fragrances.
Yeah.
If I swear to God, I have some kind of, what's perfume for boys?
Cologne.
I have some cologne that somebody gave me in junior high, still in my medicine cabinet.
Gross.
Right? Like, fragrances, I feel like that could last for months or years, one bottle, right?
Yes.
So, if he did buy, let's say, 15, 20 different fragrances.
Yes.
Couldn't he just stop buying for a while and just live off of those fragrances for a couple of months?
Yeah, well, he a couple of years, couple of decades, maybe. And you just made me realize he said fragrances, and I went straight to essential oils.
Yeah, sure.
So I probably not helped him. He's like, to avoid doing anything about it, it's like, it's not essential oils, it's fragrances. You gave me no advice. The issue is, yes, he is going to have more than he could use
in a lifetime.
Yeah, but it's the addiction and compulsion
of buying it,
of having it, of having enough, whatever is behind Jamie's compulsion to keep doing this.
Right.
Which, I'm assuming is to stave off hurt, this control over, I can buy this, I can have whatever I want. No one can
Right.
say anything. None of the people that hurt me or ghosted me have anything to do with this.
Right.
So it's not, yes, logically, think of it like it's not the same vibe, but like he's hoarding.
Yeah.
He's a hoarder.
Yeah.
Of fragrances. There's just not dead rats strewn around. Or if there are, at least it smells nice in there.
Exactly. But that's exactly right. But it's not about the fragrances themselves. Because I'm thinking about, like, let's say my ice machine, right? My ice machine brings me happiness in a way that I can't explain, just like the fragrances bring him happiness. That's not the problem. The fragrances bringing you happiness, I feel like, let's say he's overdoing it and making his house smell, crazy every day. That I feel like isn't horrible. Right? It's the buying it that's causing the harm.
The real life consequence is the money spent. When I've gone, I don't have money for rent, but I always had weed.
Right.
It's the same thing, change the substance, change the whatever.
Right.
So, but the difference is we all love your ice machine. Go back to episodes 1 through 54 to hear how much I love the ice machine. So imagine, Clark, if you had the compulsion. Right. And I know you don't really have this thing.
Yeah.
So it's hard to explain to someone.
Yeah.
But if you couldn't help it, you loved your ice machine so much that all you did was research and look online and buy another one and another one, because this one's going to be better and this one's going to be better. And you have 20 ice machines in your kitchen. Right. One of them should come home with me.
But in that situation, I don't have an ice problem. I have a purchasing. Like I'm.
You have an emotional problem.
I have an emotional problem. That's the thing. That's what I'm trying to say.
In general, I'm sure there's other people that are whatever. And there is a genetic component. And obviously now I'm talking about drugs and alcohol.
Sure.
And not fragrances. But it is the drive to do something that makes you feel better. Yeah. It makes me not have to think. Right. There's an adrenaline to it.
Right.
The shopaholic thing, you go and buy... go buy the new clothes and don't take the tags off, and then you can return it. It's the adrenaline and it's the endorphins and it's the satisfaction and the relief.
Yeah.
Oh, I got one more. I can look at this one. I can open it. I can smell it. I cannot deal with whoever hurt me or ghosted me, whatever he said, used him.
Ghosted,
and so that is the compulsion, the substance, whatever it is. Because think about the vast array. Think about Clark, who, I'm so glad that you don't have to live this, is, although I see a lot of toys.
Yeah, that's true.
Clark's house is end-to-end, like, pop toys and everything. But think about it being the same concept and the same thinking and the same seeking for comfort.
Yeah.
And the same seeking to block out things that are upsetting and trauma.
Right.
Whether it's food or alcohol or shoplifting.
Right.
Or hoarding.
Right.
Or buying fragrances.
Yeah.
It's all this same emotional reaction and not dealing with, not facing that.
Right.
And grabbing whatever you can to say, well, I'll just focus on this. If I just have this, it'll be perfect. If I just, okay, this is good. And then I look around and my life has crashed down because all I did is drugs for 10 years.
Right.
Then Jamie looks around and says, I don't have money. I'm not going to pay my car payment this month, but I have, $500 of fragrances on my shelf.
Yeah.
So it's that thinking and it's the avoidance and it's the justification of what I'm doing that is actually harmful.
Right.
You know, it's very easy to say doing drugs is harmful. I see you're doing heroin. You weigh a pound.
Right.
You're doing meth. You have no teeth. You're strung out. You broke into a house. Somebody buying fragrances, you wouldn't look at it that way, but it's the same emotional deal.
Right. It's the same process.
So, Jamie, I realize we just talked about it. We didn't give
No, I know. So how do you control this compulsive addiction?
Well, knowing is half the battle.
Yeah.
So the fact that you clearly know, because you're telling us that this is a problem, I would say that, but we've been off so long, I haven't said these old chestnuts. Clearly you have stuff to work through with past people in your life. I would always recommend, finding a counselor or a therapist to talk through those things.
Yeah.
Also, everyone, 12-step, there's a 12-step for everything. There is, I'm pretty sure, Shopaholics Anonymous. And there is a, what's it called? I've never been in it, which is why I haven't gotten better and I have no money. DA, Debtors Anonymous.
Debtors.
Is it called Debtors Anonymous?
Huh.
It's something like that. Look up DA
Huh.
for people that have problems with their
Buying
money
stuff.
and budgeting, and it's like impulse. And I've never been there. I have friends that have been in that.
Yeah.
So there could be even that, support, or even for you to just, and it's still COVID. There are tons of meetings online.
Yeah.
So you could just stay and spray all your fragrances, and you do all of them at once, and you go to a real meeting, and everyone just throws up.
Can I give one last bit of bad advice?
You may.
This is probably the worst advice.
Uh-oh.
Jamie, get COVID.
Oh, you won't have a sense of smell.
You won't have a sense of smell. Boom.
That is some serious bad advice. But yeah, no, that would be good. But check into a meeting having to do with money or spending or hoarding. Like you can have your pick of the litter. There's a million for you. And it's just like lurk in and see if it speaks to you. And yeah, COVID would be a nice, get COVID on top of that.
Anyway.
So good luck.
Yeah, hopefully that helps, Jamie. Thank you guys so much. We're excited to be back. If you still have questions out there, you have a decision that's weighing heavily on you, please send it to us and let LB ease your burden. Send us your problems at AskLoriBeth.com. You can follow us on all the socials at AskLoriBeth, or just leave a message with your voice at 1-855-336-2374. That's 1-855-DENBERG or 1-855-Denberg.
And you can find me at LB Denberg on Instagram, Lori Beth Denberg on Twitter, and the Lori Beth Denberg fan page on Facebook. You can also book me for a personalized video for a friend, loved one, or enemy on cameo.com/LoriBeth. And you can see me on Worst Cooks in America, That's So 90s on the Food Network at 9 p.m. on Sundays.
Yay!
Very exciting. I really missed you guys. I'm so glad to be back, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bad Advice stars Lori Beth Denberg and Clark Crozer. The show is produced by me, Jeremy Balon, and part of the Seltzer Kings network. Our theme song is written and performed by Natty Ward. If you or someone you love is in need of some bad advice, you can submit your own question on our socials, all of which are Ask Lori Beth, or on our website at AskLoriBeth.com, or for a nostalgic twist, you can call 1-855-DENBERG. That's right, 1-855-336-2374, and leave your question there. Thanks for listening.